Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Behind Erasmus, the show where we talk about people behind Erasmus. And today I got here my flatmate and a great friend, Zora. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, I'm Zora. I'm from Germany, and I'm with Bruno in the Association Europe for Youth as a volunteer. Yeah. What else do you need to know?
If you think that's all that's necessary, I think we can work a little bit on that. So you're a volunteer in Europe for Youth, and what do you do in there?
Like right now, it's a little bit complicated because we're in the situation of Corona times. But before that, I was mostly like planning to go on projects, planning some workshops there, or just see what's happening there, keeping in contact with the hosting organization or something like this.
Okay, good. And why did you decide well, Poland isn't too far for someone who lives in Germany, but to go live for a year volunteering in another country?
I finished my studies last year, and then I went traveling because I was actually, my mind was too full of wisdom. No, like knowledge from university, and I didn't feel like staying in this system and just like get out somewhere and like just being myself, being free. And after my traveling, I decided, okay, I don't want to work straight away. I want to do something else, like a volunteering thing. And then I just searched online what can be happening, like kind of spontaneous. I was looking for like right now. So I just checked possibilities and then like the European Voluntary Service came. No, European Solidarity Corps.
Yes.
And there I found this like few projects, and I just applied for the ones that I liked. And Poland was there, and I thought, well, that's not the bad option. It's cool. I've never been to Poland, like real into Poland. Of course, I was like just across the border, but not so deep into Poland. And it's actually cool to get to know your neighbors. Yeah.
That's nice. And what were you studying in university?
I was studying to become a teacher for primary school.
Okay. And did this area that you are, did it affect your choice on the type of volunteering you were going to do? Like, did you want to do something related or something different?
I know that I want to do more like a kind of a social work. It doesn't have to be social, but I want to work with people. And actually, I like to work with the different generations. So actually, I just choose to the primary school for having, I could study more subjects when I'm in primary school. When I would go to an older school, it would be, I had to choose specific subjects. So I choose that. But actually, I like to work with different generations. So now I choose to work with youth, which is also very cool. I like it. And it's something different to primary school, but it's good. I like it.
Yeah, and youth is like such a big group that you have like kids until like almost adults. They still consider like youth, so you kind of have like to work with the different ages like you like. But
Yes, I
yeah,
like that a lot.
it's great. And before you start doing the ESC, did you have any other contact with something related to Erasmus Plus? Like, have you gone to youth exchanges or something like that?
Actually, not really. Like when I started the volunteering service in Europe for Youth, it was the first time I was really getting deep into this Erasmus knowledge, what's possible there. Before that, I didn't know that. it was not that popular, this Erasmus Plus projects in in my society, I would say. It was mostly popular, the Erasmus exchange during university. And I have a lot of friends who did this, and there I kind of had the contact. And I also visit people who were in Erasmus projects abroad. But I never did a project before in Erasmus. Just when I started Europe for Youth, I
So
did.
so you started already with the big one, the 1 year away. And when you said that you had friends and people in your university going in the Erasmus Mundus scholarship and youth exchanges, what was your first image of what the Erasmus and ECS was?
The Erasmus exchange over university, it was always cool. I really liked it, and I also I was thinking of choosing it, but then I chose another project, which like I went to Japan. That's not Erasmus, but it's a different kind. I just choose a different kind of exchange program. But for Erasmus, it was always cool because you hear the stories of um, young people coming together. Also, the typical Erasmus life abroad, cool people meeting and just having a great time of your life. And also the people who came to my university from Erasmus was always cool. I mean, they were so open-minded. They were always open for some activities and also getting somewhere, seeing places, and yeah, my picture was always good. I think from Erasmus, it's a great opportunity to use, and it's a real opportunity you can get. It's not something that high you can never reach, but it's kind like everyone can do it. That's cool about it, I think.
That's great. And now that you are doing volunteering and you even actually went to a youth exchange during your volunteering, did your image change about how it is, what it was?
Yes, kind of. I think it opened my mind for there are so many things I don't know about, and so many cool things that you can explore, and it's just one thing of many, but it's also a really cool thing. And I was kind of why didn't I know this before?
Yep.
But yeah, I like that there are so many opportunities actually, and I would like to share it more with people. I think because like I said, in my society, it was not that popular. When I'm honest,
Mhm.
maybe it was just me, but yeah.
No, no, but actually, you're kind of right in there, and I don't know why, but Germany is one of the countries that hosts the most volunteers and Erasmus people who are in youth exchange and training courses. But then they are one of the countries that have less people going out.
Yeah.
So they host more than they send. And to be honest, I never figured out why. It's just like the same with France. There's a lot of opportunities to go to France, but not many from people going out. But so far that I know, and maybe I'm not right, they say that usually countries that the population have more opportunities to travel by themselves, by their own means, they usually don't take too many of these opportunities. But
That could be actually.
yeah, but
I can kind of agree because even without Erasmus Plus, I had a great life, of course. I'm I also had chances to go somewhere and travel, and of course I didn't knew Erasmus, but I also didn't miss it because my life is full or was full already, and maybe that's why there maybe in Germany, yeah, like you said, there may be too many opportunities you can take, and that's why you don't maybe take the Erasmus Plus projects. I don't know.
yeah, but then again, I think it's so different to travel with Erasmus than to just travel by your own.
Yeah, that's true also
As for
because you
example,
can learn
sorry.
so many cool things actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the people that you get to know and be in
Yes,
contact with, which I think is the best part about everything.
that's
Ju-
true.
Yeah, just for example, the youth exchange, I think the first one that you did with Europe for Youth in Germany. was in Berlin, so
in
you know
Finland.
that you know it already. But when you have all these like different people from different countries, and you even kind of get to know more about your country by seeing how other people think about your country. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but you see in person the different opinions and what they see. For example, for you,
That's
probably it's like common to see something, but then for other people, they say, "Wow, this is like what? The buses are always on time. The streets are flat and have holes." For you, something that you think, "Oh, it's okay," but then if you see the other people opinion, kind of
yeah,
changes your mind.
that's true. But also at the same point, actually, you have to say that, of course, you get to know like many cool people and from different cultures. But like the project I was on now in Germany, I think they didn't represent the German culture, of course. Like also when you go somewhere traveling to a country, it's not that you get to know the country, it's more about getting to know the people from different countries. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
totally, totally.
Yeah.
Because in the case of youth exchange and training course, usually you only have like a day to go around in one city and to see. So it really comes down from the type of project and the difference between. But for
That's
example, if
true. Hmm.
I had a project, it was in Larnaca in Cyprus, and it was about social inclusion. And almost like every day we were like engaging with the local community and going out in the city to see problems where we could solve and problems that we didn't know was there. So it depends of the project, and like
Yes,
I really
that's true.
find it wonderful because I think I know better now that city than my own city because I went around so much. But that's great.
Very cool.
Yeah. So before you chose the university that you went the area, what was like your training process, thinking process? Why did you want to go to this more teacher kind of role profession?
Can you repeat the questions? I didn't get it.
Yeah, sorry. So before you chose to which university course you wanted to do,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
what were you thinking? Why did you decide to go to this one in specific?
Why I decided to study to become a teacher?
Yes.
Okay, I think like okay. I first of all I wanted to study, just to also like kind of get an education and take the opportunity to study in Germany and have the student life. So then I just thought of what I can study, and I was really not sure. I'm still not sure if this was the right decision, but I know that I'm more a social person, so I want to work with people. And that's why I searched for something like this. And in Germany, you can also study more social things like social working or like in different fields. There are a lot of different opportunities to study in a social field. But for me, it was not, I didn't want to choose the social directions because after that you're still kind of lost. Even when you study, like finish your studies, you don't know what to do with that. And sometimes it's very hard to start working in this because there are so many who would like to do it. And so for me, it wasn't an option to do this actually because I would feel too lost. So I wanted to study something which is still like kind of open, but where I can have idea what I can do. So I felt okay, teaching is not the worst option to do. Like I know I can teach. I was working with children before. I was working with others before. We had like private lessons or something. And I chose the primary school, like I said before, because I could choose more various like subjects. I didn't have to choose that specific subjects. I just could, like I studied 5 subjects, and I thought after this I can still go in any direction, which I cannot, I think, but it's still something like just taking the most out of it, I would say.
Okay, great. And now that you've been in contact with another type of education, the non-formal education, Did you think that it changed a little bit your idea of or what would you like how to teach someone, like your
Of
methods that you're going
course,
to use?
yes, it adapts a lot. I'm like, before that, I was always very critical about I would say the schools in Germany or the system, the normal school system from the state. I would say I was always very critical, and I'm still. And I could see how my perspective also changed during the studies. And sometimes you know what's wrong, but you don't know how to do it better. And that's a cool thing about this non-educational stuff I get to know now, that I can actually get to know more methods of how to work with people. And it changes a lot, and it's a plus for me, I would say. It's not only that it changed the knowledge what I have, it does change a little bit, but mostly adapt to it, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, it's good. So you kind of got lucky with the project that you choose to volunteer in because well, that's kind of non-formal education is a big part of what we do in Europe for youth. So
Yes, that's true.
you got
And
kind
it's
of lucky.
very cool. It's, yeah, good
Yeah,
knowledge.
yeah. Because my first thought was like, no, this is not like real education. They are like just playing or doing like some dove stuff. It doesn't look like you're teaching or that they are learning. But then you see that if you it's well done, everyone gets like engaged and no one is left behind. Everyone learns, which is really cool. So you're talking about things that you don't like in the educational system in Germany. Would you like talk about a little bit more about this? Like what in specific? What are the things that you don't like?
Mm, I'm not sure. I think every child and every teacher has a different way of how to educate, I would say. Like every child learns different, every teacher teaches different, every person is just a individual person who has a different way of learning things and getting to know something. So I would say for some people, the state system might be the best. I don't know. But for me, it's not, because that's not the way I learn. And I miss that in the school system a lot, that there's like one system and everybody has to fit in, and every child has to, like kind of behave, sit down. It's always about the brave children, like not the brave children, the good behaving children, and never about the naughty children. The naughties are always standing up or like cannot sit still. And I hate this, because for me it's just because a person cannot sit still doesn't mean that he's dumb and cannot learn. It's just a different way of learning, I would say. And for me it's also hard to sit down. I really, for me. And I don't like that everyone has to be the same kind of in the school system, and there's only this one way to teach. So I like this more alternative thinking of everyone learns different, and I would like the schools to have more opportunities to give the children to learn different, not just one way, but to like choose from how can I learn better, and yeah, which way can I choose to get to know, like get the knowledge, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, and it was a good explanation. And yeah, I totally agree with you because it ends up that the students need to fit with the teacher. It's not like the teacher needs to adapt in the education system; they need to adapt to the needs of the classroom. So
Yes.
it's the opposite. So everyone needs to change to become that one person that the educational system likes, but then the that one person like don't care about the other ones. And that's what I ask you that because the non-formal education is all about this. And I say it's hard to be someone who works with non-formal education because not just I say stuff and if you don't get it, you don't get it. If you get it, you get it. Like you need like to work harder to make sure that everyone's paying attention, that no one is getting left behind. That if someone is doing too well, you're not going like to punish him to make him wait for the others. Maybe he can help the others. So, like, besides that, is there anything else from the non-formal education that you think it would be good to implement in the normal educational system?
Like from the non-formal education system to
Yeah,
like add to the formal education.
not to the formal, more to the school system, the educational system, to make it like less formal, you can say.
I think it's hard because it's so like a so big wish, I would say, that it's not possible. But I think there are a lot of good private schools already who are trying to add more non-formal education to the formal education, also try to choose different ways to educate. But unfortunately, they're still private, and not everyone can afford this. And it's still this kind of gap, or not a fight, but it's like opposite the private ones and the system, the state system. So I would like that maybe the state system sometimes just gets more ideas from this new way of thinking of people, kind of
Okay.
like you can see this in other countries as well. Like it's always the North Europe who is best, you know. So they are doing this already sometimes, but it's always about it's always about politics, I would say, because the education system is always connected to politics, and unfortunately, it's in politics. It's always about greed, I would say.
Yeah.
So there's sometimes not that much money left for education, and I don't want to criticize too much here. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I feel struggle because I'm like a political conspiracy guy. I love like going crazy about this, and for me is that if I'm a politician and everything that I care is about power, why would I like to educate my population? The dumbest they are, the easiest for my job is like to control them.
Okay,
So
I
again,
would
no more
Germany
conspiracies.
is
So
maybe not that bad. Still, a lot of countries look after Germany, but it's still I would say Germany can do much more than what they're doing right now, and also what, like you said, with this non-formal education, like Erasmus Plus is not that popular in Germany, and it's even if you would make this more popular, it there would be more non-formal education and maybe more people who can get this opportunity to think outside the box. Because if you're stuck in this formal education system or the school system, you will always think like this because you're just educated that way and you don't see the possibilities who are next to you. And this non-formal education that our uh, organization kind of gives, you have to see that and take chances of that. But if you don't know it, then you cannot, like, then you cannot grow in this, I
yeah,
would say.
no, I totally agree because you grow up in an environment that says that the only formal is the only way of learning. Then some crazy people from another country come yelling at you saying that there's another way. Yeah, it's hard to believe. It's like sounds too magical and utopic. But let me give you an example. Here in Portugal, uh, the public schools and the private schools, they have the same educational system, and it's not because the private schools want to do it that way, like they are forced to do, because the state says that if it's not something standard, it's going to be like unfair to the students that don't have the chance to pay the money for private school, which I kind of get. But for example, there was like a school that implemented like completely the non-formal education system. It was a school like in the middle of the countryside of nowhere, like a little school, and they were working with all type of people, all type of wages. Doesn't matter if you're like 80 and didn't know how to read, or if you're like 5 or 6 and starting to learn how to read. They like would teach everyone, and they were like people who their whole life struggled to learn, for example, how to read, but like was starting to learn. Even people who had some mental disabilities, they're like teaching together with the other kids, not like putting them apart in the crazy class that almost like every school here have. and it was like wonderful. The parents were supporting this school, the teachers were like loving the school, but then what was the problem? It was going too well, and the other schools that would like completely formal would say, yeah, it's unfair, so we need to shut them down. And yeah, and shut it down. So I feel that like there's still this pushback from older organizations, schools, public schools and private schools, that like maybe it's like afraid. I don't know what it is from trying to change. Maybe they see if it's not, how they say, if it's not broken, don't try to fix it. Maybe it's something like that. So I don't know. It's really really hard to understand what things are going that way. And
I think in Germany maybe there's another perspective, like people think of it differently, I would say. There are a lot of private schools who have a different kind of education system. There are also a lot of private schools who have the same kind of the same education system like the public schools. That's true, but I don't think there's so much competition. Actually, most of the, not most of the, but some of maybe they're accepted, I would say. But it sounds very sad actually. Like it sounds like your Portugal story. It sounds like a great idea actually, and then just because something works doesn't mean that you have to shut it down actually.
yeah, the problem is that it worked too well. That was the thing. But just to talk about the story, it didn't have like a sad ending, because then the guy that like kickstarted this whole movement, he started working in NGO in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And the good thing, but like bad thing about Brazil, is that the educational system is like a complete joke. And in the less privileged areas, for example, the favelas, it's hard to even have like a public school. So the good thing is they are NGO, so they teach whatever the way they want. And the government is like, yeah, we don't have school, so anything is better than nothing. So like it's starting to Brazil, weirdly enough, Brazil is starting to have like this new educational system starting off, and maybe it can kickstart the whole world. So that's a plus for the bad situation that we have there.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but, sorry, but for me, it's funny how somehow they turn a bad situation into a kind of
Uh,
good situation. But okay, but now that you've been in contact with both sides of education, do you think that your way of teaching is going to change?
yes, I think I will include the ideas which I get from the NGO of teaching in a normal school. Also, I think I got more brave in choosing maybe different schools, maybe yeah, different education systems. Like I think I'm like I studied for the state, I would say. I'm like I studied at a normal university to study to become a primary school teacher in Germany, in this area I was. So you kind of can get stuck in it, or you can choose other ways of teaching, like other schools. And I think I got maybe more brave to maybe also like get new experience with different ways. Also, just find my way and don't be that, okay, I have to do this, but I want to do that and I want to try this and I will see what happens, I would say.
Okay, that's awesome. That you're not doing, as I said, that I feel that other teachers are doing, like pushing back and fighting. And it's good. Let's say that you start implementing just a little thing here, a little thing in there, and that you see that it's having a change, and maybe your other teachers like look at that and say, "Oh, it's work. Maybe you should do that." And the students start to say, "Oh, maybe it's not the learning doesn't stop at school. So hey, maybe
But
only you
you
can like
always have
help
to see,
everything."
because I think there are a lot of teachers who also would think of, okay, what she's doing there. But Yeah, that's why I think maybe I got more a push from the organization, like, you can do it, maybe. But yes.
That's great. That's great. So you guys know if in 20, 30 years the whole education system in Germany is different, you know who to blame. Well, yes, thank you for sharing. We're gonna have a quick break now, and we'll be right back.
The European Commission set 4 main objectives for the Erasmus Plus programme in the field of youth. They tackle important issues young people are dealing with in the European Union countries and beyond. There are 4 main objectives. Every project needs to aim to answer at least one of these objectives. 1. Growing and learning through mobility. The project should provide opportunities for young people to develop knowledge, skills, and attitudes in areas such as participation, social skills, solidarity, easing the entry into the labour market, and to participate as citizens in today's Europe. 2. Better youth work through international cooperation. Projects should give the possibility to increase the cooperation between organisations, working with young people. The project should enable organisations to learn different methods and techniques from each other, find solutions for common problems, and exchange good practices. 3. Young people actively participating in creating policies that affect them. The project should provide the space for meetings and reflections that will improve policies concerning young people at a local, national, and European level. This is done in order to make sure that young people have a say in what concerns their lives and that the learning that happens outside of schools gets the recognition it deserves. 4. Lots of opportunities even beyond the EU countries. The project should enhance and increase international cooperation between EU and neighbouring partner countries. Such cooperation should enable young people, youth workers, and their organisations to increase their capacity for higher quality youth work. Priorities. Besides the objectives, the European Union also sets priorities which are linked to the current situation of young people. Exploring unemployment issues and working towards solutions, especially involving young people facing unemployment and other financial, social, geographical or cultural obstacles. Promoting a healthy lifestyle, fighting addictions and obesity through outdoor activities, sports, cooperation activities, and enabling young people to feel more included and better in a group, in their life and in their body. Providing opportunities for young people to get to know, reflect, and understand about policy making in the EU, their place in the EU, the opportunities the EU offers, and also the responsibilities that being part of it includes. It also wants to promote alternative forms of participation, not only voting. Working in creative ways with young people on important competences they need in life, like languages, taking initiative, and working with computers. The idea is that young people can learn these competences by doing it in a way that is adapted to their way of learning. To support youth work in entering the digital world, learning how to use a wide variety of tools and programs in a competent and adapted way, learning how to use these tools in a good and respectful manner so they can also support the learning of the young people and youth workers. Different countries have various tools that recognise the learning that occurs outside of the school environment, recognizing that this learning is important in the lives of the young people for their employment and their social lives. A priority is given to projects that aim to involve people, public institutions, and non-profit and private organizations in the promotion of existing tools and for the development of new ones.
Hey Ron, welcome back from the break. We're still here with Lef and Zora. And now let's talk a little bit more about the present. Well, not like present, a little bit before the Kong flu. Can you tell us again what were you doing in Europe for Youth?
Mostly I was sitting in the office and working on projects, or I went to projects and like guiding, not guiding, but like having groups and workshops. Yeah, mostly like this.
Okay.
It was changing a lot, but sometimes like this. What was there to do, I would say.
Okay. And can you give us an example of one project that you did that you enjoyed?
Mm, I really enjoyed one project. We went to Germany. It was kind of my first project. I really had a task to do. So I had the Polish group who went to Germany, and we did a project about anti-Semitism. And it was I got a lot of I learned a lot about how to work with a group, and I also had to do a workshop there, which the topic I really had to work on it before by myself because I didn't choose the topic, it was given to me, and this was very exciting actually to also work with this, getting to know new tools, I would say. And yeah, I like this connection with other people. And yeah, just in the beginning, I was a lot nervous because I didn't know what to expect. But at the end, I was very happy I did this because I learned a lot.
Okay, that's great. And for you, what was like the hardest part about doing this?
Um, the hardest part was in the beginning of like don't know what to expect, or maybe also fail in some tasks I had. Um, Also, what was hard for me was the Polish group sometimes because they, of course, they were like Polish and could speak Polish the whole time, and they were very nice and talked a lot also English just for me. But sometimes it was also hard for me because it's, of course, we were in Germany and I'm related to the German culture, and then sometimes, but still understand the Polish side of how to look at the German culture and what might be problems, and yeah, understand the Polish group as a Polish group and not as a, also my German mind is kind of, it's still different, of course. But still, I had to represent the Polish group. That was maybe one of the difficulties.
Oh no, yeah, totally agree. So you had to talk about Germany, but through the Polish mind. Is that it?
Maybe sometimes, or also kind of course, I have also, like the topic was anti-Semitism, which is a big topic, I would say, and also a big topic in Germany. And I'm educated in the German education system, so I have this German way of thinking about anti-Semitism. But I think the Polish people, they have also a different way of thinking about it, and sometimes I think it's hard to understand each other. And then I should still, it was very interesting to learn from the Polish people, but sometimes I wouldn't understand something the German people think about it, but I couldn't understand because I'm thinking like it this because I'm German, I would say. You
Yeah,
know, like
completely get
the
it.
big topic anti-Semitism, and yeah, I
And,
would
and
say
and do you think that you learned something new doing that, like putting yourself in other cultures' shoes?
yes, I think so. Like the whole project gave me a lot of I think what I actually mostly learned was this guiding kind of like taking responsibility, but also with this culture experience, I think I learned a lot about the Polish culture because they were very open-minded, the Polish group, and they could teach me a lot about the Polish culture, and I could also, I think, change a little bit my way of thinking about also the topic anti-Semitism and how German people react to it, and that there's always other points of view, I would say.
Okay, yeah, because I really it's not like I learned, but I started to really enjoy those type of activities. Not those type of activities, but the situation you were in. because you had like to completely put away all the things that you know and think, how you think in your culture, and like put yourself in other cultures and think about that. Because when we did that youth exchange together in Germany, we had the EduLARP. That's like the educational
Oh yeah, that was also
live action role playing. And for those who don't know, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, but without dungeons and without dragons. You're
We
just
also have
portraying.
this. We recorded this podcast about it.
Yes,
We can actually listen to it. Maybe you can link it at the end. Something.
for sure I will. It's a podcast with the people in their characters, and then talk about the session that we had, and then like out of their characters, talking about how was to portray that. But the thing is, in EduLARP, what you do is you completely immerse yourself in the character. Um, you even like change your clothing, and everyone that you speak to, you need to speak as a character. And if you don't want to do that anymore, you have like to give some secret signal so people know that, okay, now it's you and then it's not the character. And for me is really funny because I was my character when I was doing that was someone who had the same views than me, but like in a really extremistic way, and also had like views that like really against mine, it also in a really extremistic way. And doing this process of trying to portray that person and try to figure out how that person thinks, I started to realize that there was some stuff that I believe that was like really stupid and that didn't make any sense because I had like to go against that to portray my character. And there was also stuff that I had to defend that I was against. I was like, oh no, wait, it actually makes sense and it isn't supposed to be like that. So I really like those type of activities and experience that you have to literally go out of yourself, put everything behind, and portray something new. It's like it's not only good to make you be more empathic, but you can also like learn a lot in a practical way,
Totally.
which is great. So yeah, and it's a good idea to post here the podcast because what we did was a session, a simulation of the European Parliament, and we were trying to come up with new pillars of Europe, and we have all type of characters. And by the way, did you enjoy portraying like this character during the session?
Yes, yes, of course. I don't know if you remember, but I was a character. I was like a shy girl from North Macedonia and I was Muslim. And
Yeah,
it was so new for me because it was totally not me, I would say. I'm this German educated woman who was kind of, how do you say, is emancipated, kind of, I would say, like a normal German way, I would say. And it was very changing myself and my perspective of how, and also a new way of understanding people like that, like what struggles they have. And these are also, yeah, my way of thinking about other human beings, I would say. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's a good activity. I was trying to remember what was your character, but then I remember, oh yeah, it's like she would sit it like on my left, and she would like be quiet all the time. Because we
But
were like,
it's also very hard for me to like stay quiet because usually I'm that person when I think something, I say this. Even like if it's important to me. And I also changed this role a little bit then because I couldn't shut my mouth. But yeah.
I just agree with you because sometimes I really would like to Bruno would like to come out and stop saying this, say the things that make sense, but then you have like to take their character.
Mm.
But yeah, and it's good that we kind of shift away to this youth exchange because we also had to carry out an activity. It was the evaluation, if I remember. We did that. Yes. And for you, what was like the hardest part of managing a group big like the one we had?
Mm. Sometimes I felt that I'm sometimes too much the teacher of young, like I said, I studied to become a teacher for primary school and then have this change to but these are not little children, these are adults, and they can think by themselves, kind of. Sometimes I just catch myself in like talking to them like little children. And sometimes it was also hard to, when you see like you have a task and you want to implement it, and then the people just don't react to it or get frustrated by it and don't actually like what you're doing, and then to have this spontaneous ideas or change of like, what can I do now? I think this was hard sometimes for me, because we agreed before in a group what we want to do, and then just react to the group and say, okay, this might be not a cool activity, how can I change it that it becomes cool? I would say.
Yeah,
What was it for you? Like,
I'll shoot into that. Yeah, so this was like the 7th or 8th time that I had to manage like a group during an activity. And for me, since the first one, it's still like the same thing that I hate the most. That how do I get their attention without screaming at them?
oh yeah, that's also tricky.
And I think that's the hardest part. I'm still trying to figure out how can I get everyone attention without saying, "Hey, you in particular, let me shame you in public so you pay attention to me." So I'm still trying to get over that. And but also it's trying to you should like try to engage them. Um, and I'm trying to learn how to do that. Maybe you just like to be creative, because so far everyone has like different techniques. There's some facilitators that they just like stop and start staring at the people who are talking and still they
Yeah.
like stop. There are people who like make more noise. So far, the one that I like the most was a facilitator that he had like those megaphones, those things that you, those speakers.
Mm.
So when you're talking, he wanted to talk. He just like turned this to the max level. It was like start talking, and then when someone everyone shut up because got scared. It's good.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me that's the hardest part. And for you, what's like the best part, like the most rewarding part of working with a group, being like in charge of a group?
What I like the most, or
Yeah. What you like the most, or what you think is like the most rewarding part?
I don't get the word you say. Few winding parts.
Rewarding. Like what's the biggest reward? Like something that you get.
Okay. Um, I actually like feedback a lot. That you get also, of course, also positive feedback that pushes you the way you are, and just makes you more self-confident, but also um, feedback that where you can grow, and that good feedback that where you can say, okay, or where people say, Zora, I didn't like that much, but I would like you to consider that, or I would like you to change this a little bit from you, and or this activity was not that cool. And then I like it when the next time I want to I try the new ideas, and then it works. Of course, it's always cool. Or the people like it. I like that you have so many in a group, that you have so many different minds and so many different ideas, that like when you edit, it's a huge impact of life of the world, kind of. It's like we talked about the education system before, that you can tell me what's the education system in Portugal, and then I have a new way of thinking, or new mindset, I would say. I can include this in the way of thinking. And when the more people you get, of course, you cannot talk to everyone, but it's nice to get all the different ideas of how to change the world, or what's it like. And just sometimes from small steps you can see different solutions of different problems. I like this a lot in a group, that especially in the international group, actually, I think, because there sometimes also small culture difference who can be funny as well. And yeah.
I don't know, totally understand you, because for me, it's kind of like you're when you give them an activity, and there's like this moment that it clicks and everyone starts working together. It's like you're like a maestro in an orchestra. Like everyone is like doing their part and doing this, and and makes sense we're doing analysis about this. Because for me, when I had to organize activities in a formal way, was like, okay, the batteries needs to play the guitar, the guitarists need to do the vocals need to be done by the batteries. So like it doesn't matter what you do, you need to do what I want you to do. But then when you like organize activities in this like less formal way, at least for me, what I feel is that everyone is doing what they are best at, and not what like I need them to do. They do what is best for them to do. In about the cultural differences, I think that's the thing that I like the most going in youth exchanges, especially with people who speak either like Spanish or Italian, because sometimes they think they're like speaking something nobody understands, and then I'm like, okay, is that? But then like do they have speak a phrase? It's like the same in my language in Portuguese, either they speak in Spanish or Italian, but then just like that, there's one word that is the same, but the meaning is different,
Oh,
and
okay.
you get it totally confused. A good example of that. So in Italian, you have the phrase "Io parlo italiano," is I speak Italian, and in Portuguese you have "Eu falo italiano," I speak Italian. And I like to sometimes to do this, just like to bother people. I come up with them and just say that I speak the language in their tongue. But I made a mistake. Instead of saying "Eu parlo italiano," I said "Eu falo italiano." So with the Portuguese word. And what's the thing? Falo in Portuguese is speak, but falo is the male genitalia in Italian. So I came to them out of nowhere and said like, I penis Italian. So yeah, for me that's the example of cultural differences that I really love.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's good. But since you talk little cultural
But good
differences,
that you experience this in that way with young people and not in an official way, I would say. Good.
yeah, it's good.
That's good. You could.
I don't know. But yeah, as I was saying, now you're like, well, now you're back to Germany, but you were in Poland for how many months?
I started in late January, and I went to Germany at the end of March, like 2 months, I would say. I would stayed in Poland, and actually, yeah, of course, like we are still in Poland, but I went back to Germany.
But Poland's
Just
quite big
for,
if Poland comes to Portugal.
yeah.
And was there like any cultural differences that cultural differences or similarities between Poland and Germany that you like really either felt like outrage or felt like really that it was funny?
Mm, maybe I didn't get too deep into Polish culture because I was a lot on projects. I don't know if there is something funny actually. What I experienced, maybe this is not that funny, but for me it was sometimes a little bit hard that complaining about politics. I feel that Polish people also complain about their politics, but when I complain about Polish politics, they would always protect their country, I would say. And that was sometimes hard for me to understand.
Oh, no,
But
no. I'll explain to you why is that. Because Brazil is the same situation.
yeah,
So I don't think there's like any Brazilian that ever existed that didn't complain about politics.
yeah.
It's like if you want to take the citizenship test, you need to complain about politics. You need to complain about politics. Your country sucks. But if someone who isn't in there says that to you, he's like the worst person ever,
I
because
can,
it's your country and it's your country to tell that it sucks.
yeah, I totally understand this actually. But it was sometimes hard for me to like, it was something that I had to learn, I would say. Maybe where is a little bit culture difference because I would say Okay, maybe I was never in this situation because normally German politics are always praised. Every country is like, oh, Germany is so cool, and you have Merkel and cool things, and then German people would be the ones who complain. Uh, and maybe it never happened to me really that the German people, like people from other countries, complain about German politics. I would say usually it's the other way around, but yeah, I don't know.
I can imagine because at least in the European Union, Germany has like a more um, central, more like protagonist politics government. It's like one of the biggest influences. So maybe that's why people feel like more comfortable to talking about German politics because it kind of affects them. So maybe there's that, or maybe
Yeah.
they are just jealous. I don't know. But yeah, I totally understand that. Um, but from the time you were in Poland, there was like anything that like really got your interest, like something that you saw, or even like in the city, or some costume that they have, something that they do in their day to day, or
Mhm.
even like words. For example, the words for onion in Polish like made my day because it's cebula, and it's like a dumb way to say onion in Portuguese. So little things made my day.
Um, I don't know if I can exactly point it out, but I really like when I'm in a new culture. I really like to observe how people live, or like also be with one another, relationships. I would say, or um, like everyday solution. Like I don't know how to hang up washing or how to wash dishes or something. Sometimes this could be so different, and it's so cool to just see different solutions of the same problems all over the world. And yeah, I like to get to know a little bit how Polish people are with one another. That they are very, I would say, still. They're very lovely, I would say, very lovely people. But sometimes also at the same point, they're kind of keeping the distance. And this is something I like to see, or like to get to know how is that, and what their points of view are from different people, and they're so cute actually. I like them. I like Polish people, I would say,
Uh,
in how they are to one another, but also at the same way, like same time, also that's strict, and yeah, I don't know how to describe it, or maybe I don't know that much now already, but yeah. And Krakow, of course, is a beautiful city, pretty city with nice
And,
buildings.
and do you have like something about Krakow that you really like? Something more specific?
Again,
Is there like something in Krakow that you really like something more specific, or it's like general?
mm, I like that there are still parks and trees around. It's not that it's not just a building city, but you have these parks and these hills and the castles, the river. I like kind of the nature in the city. Mm, I like the church from St. Mary's actually,
Uh,
with the two towers. It's just cool with these two different towers.
yeah, but unpacking what you said, yeah, I totally understand the thing that you said about the Polish people
Mm.
because like at the first glance, for me, they seem like a bit of cold and like not really friendly. But then when you get to know them, they're like really, really warm and like get
Yes,
friendly really
yes.
fast.
You got the point.
Yeah, no,
True.
no, really,
I
that's
didn't
what
know how to say it, but you said it right.
yeah, it's really great. And also, um, something that I really like in Krakow is so since it's like a really historic city, almost every little thing there's like some background if you search it. For example, if you go to the main square, I think it's every hour or it's every 3 hours.
Yeah.
you hear the bell being rigged 7 times. There's like not a bell, like a trumpet, like doo doo.
Yeah, the trumpet.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
it's either the fourth or the seventh time that it's being like doo. It's like interrupted. The first time I thought it was a mistake. Then the
Yeah.
second I thought it was a coincidence, and then I was like to search, and they do this every day, and it's to symbolize one of the guys that was like watching to the tower to see if there was like any invaders. And when he saw the Mongolian army invading Krakow, and he started to play the trumpet. But when he was doing the seventh time, he got like an arrow through his throat, and he never finished the sound. So many years later, they're still doing that. And you have like many examples of this in Krakow. That's why.
Yeah, so many legends and
Yeah.
like also sometimes you don't there is like a real story and the legend and sometimes there's a mix between it kind of and yeah, so many little things. I totally agree. It's a beautiful city and then it's so old as well. That's true. And there's so many cool things that are still there that have the legends. It's not something that was sometimes you get it in for example in European countries which were European cities which were destroyed in the World War, and then people would say, okay, here was this and that. It's not there anymore, and but it was a cool thing. And in Krakow, there are still a lot of buildings, and the people can say, here's that and that, and you can still see this in this building. You know, like the knife in this city hall, and not the city hall, the clothing hall and stuff like this. Yeah.
It's really awesome not only like to go around the city, but to also then do your homework about it. Because as you said, almost everything there it's original. It was one of the few cities in Poland that was like completely left alone and was like considered as a model city or something like that. So if you go there, it's the same old stuff. If you like old stuff, but yeah, Zora. We're gonna have like another quick break, and don't go away. We'll be right back. Yeah.
Hello, I'd like to tell you about Erasmus+, the new European Union funding program for education, training, youth and sport. Erasmus+ builds on the success of Erasmus, the hugely popular EU student exchange program, but it's bigger and better. With a budget of nearly 15 billion euro, that's 40% more than now, Erasmus+ will offer more international opportunities than ever before.
Over the next 7 years, more than 4 million people, most under the age of 35, will receive Erasmus Plus grants to study, work, train or volunteer abroad. You can be a part of Erasmus Plus if you're a student, teacher, apprentice, volunteer, youth leader or if you're involved in grassroots sport.
With this program, there will also be more international exchange opportunities for non-EU students and teachers.
In these difficult times, it will boost your employability by improving your language skills, adaptability and self-confidence. It's a chance to meet people from different cultures and to discover new ideas and new ways of thinking and living. And believe me, the memories of this experience and the friends you will make will stay with you forever.
Regardless of your age or background, Erasmus Plus will challenge you to reach your full educational and professional potential. So, what are you waiting for? Visit the Erasmus Plus website to see how it works and what grants are available in your country.
And get ready for an unforgettable journey.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're still here with Zora in the last part. And I want to talk a little bit about the future now. So, what are your plans to do after Corona?
First of all, I think I will go back to Poland. Okay, Corona wouldn't be over, but you mean
No,
this?
it's probably never going to be over, but after it becomes the normal.
No. And I really hope then that projects will start, because I don't feel that good with working in front of the computer the whole day. So I hope we can start step by step to open the office to young people, and maybe working with young people again. That would be awesome. And yes, hopefully there will be things to do. Realizing the projects we planned, maybe that would be cool. Maybe also getting new ideas what to do. I would like to actually cooperate more together with the volunteers, that we can do more things, maybe.
And do you have like any projects in mind, or like any um, area that you would like to focus your projects on? Any cause?
Yeah, I wrote some projects or ideas before the pandemic kind of started, and now I think I would like to realize them. One is more about a choir thing, like singing together. I would like to do that because I like to work with music, and I like I like singing actually, because I don't know, you don't have this one instrument you have to focus on, but you can kind of share your voice, I would say. And the other one is to focus more on recycling, or like also, yeah, I have this one upcycling workshop, I would say. I would like to realize it. It's kind of between environmental education. I like that a lot, because I don't know, for me it's very important to watch after environment. And on the other side, it's also, I like to do crafts. I'm also a teacher for that actually in Germany, and like working with different materials and creating something new. I really like that, and it's kind of in between. And I think I would like to also go deeper in that material. Kind of, I will see what happens there. I started with one workshop now to plan, where we kind of doing crafts with wasting material, but yeah, I will see. Also, I would like to see what's happening with the garden. I don't know how far the gardening is, but it would be interesting also there to do something. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
What
for
about you?
those, sorry to interrupt, but for those who don't know, at Europe for Youth in our office, we have like a garden, but it's been winter, so yeah, there's no garden, only like a big pile of mud almost. So yeah. And is there anything else that you have any plans to do, or that's it?
I don't know. I hope that there are still like projects from the organization that will get realized, like youth exchanges. I don't know how or if they are going to be realized, but I really like to take part in this, and um, maybe doing some workshops there, which are not first time in my mind, but what is needed for the association for the project. That would be, I really like this, because you get new ideas what to do.
Okay, I think someone has been bitten by the little bug of youth exchanges. Welcome to the addiction club, where because let me tell you,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, everyone that I interview, it's like that. I did the first youth exchange, then I wanted to do one more. It was really interesting. And when you see you have like 40, like Matthew, so strap on.
What about you, Bruno? What do you like to do? I'm sorry, maybe it's your interview, but I'd like to know.
Uh, I don't know. I have to pay you for interviewing me. No, um, oh, it's being hard because I'm more like a type of guy to improvise and adapt instead of coming up with stuff. You can
Yeah.
call that lazy. You can call that being like a chameleon. But I don't know. I plan to go to Poland as soon as possible. And since I won't be able to stay there for too long, I'm like trying to come up with a project what I can do to make the life of the other future volunteers easier. So like since I didn't got the chance to do too much here, I will help everyone do more stuff. So maybe because now the idea that I have is creating like a guide of how stuff works in the house, how stuff works in the office, how the stuff works in the city, what they need to do, just like to prepare them. So like to make to make like the little state that I had like prolonged, because as long as I'm helping other people in the project, I'm kind of helping the project too. Yeah, and I hope to finally finish writing the youth exchange that I started. It's been like 3 months already, I think, because I'm always like postponing it, because it's a hard topic. Because as you said, you focus more in the educational and the environmental part. I like to focus more in the political and the cultural part. And I'm trying to write a youth exchange about like introduction to politics, but it's hard. Even choosing what countries can go, it's complicated because I don't want like to put countries that have some bad history with each other. But yeah, in
But that would be also interesting because actually, I like this that we are young people and have a different perspective. Often, it's a different perspective than older generations who are kind of responsible maybe for the history and also the politics. Like, for example, the project we did in Berlin was about the European pillars of Europe, was it? The European Union. And for me, it was so interesting, the different points of view about also Germany in the European Union. I wasn't that, of course, I knew that Germany is a powerful country in the European Union, but I didn't know that there are so many countries who are actually who are depending on Germany. I didn't know that, and it was so interesting. And I think even some countries could be mad about Germany, I would say, or a lot of countries are actually mad about Germany. But the young people, they have a different perspective, and they didn't point it on me just because I'm German. It was just interesting to get to know that they are actually struggling, for that.
yeah.
So I wouldn't, sorry for that.
Right. And just basing on that, and how do you feel that being German, you have like you need to be more responsible with your political life, political choices? Like, do you feel like since you know that a lot of people count with Germany, do you think that you need to push yourself to at least be more active politically and do better choices? Since it's not only your country that depends on you, but also the European Union.
I don't know. I think I always took political participation serious, and I think German people should also do it more, because I feel sometimes when it's a wealthy country, then people get lazy to interact with politics. Then there are just a few who are in an extreme, they have an extreme opinion, I would say, and then they are active, and most of people are like, okay, I'm feeling well, I don't care, it's okay like this. And I think that's a little bit of a problem. But I think it's still important to know what's going on in your country and also go for voting, even if you don't know what to vote, then at least show them that you're interested in choosing something. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how to answer the question.
No, but yeah, no, it's a tricky question just to see if you feel any pressure being German to do stuff. But
I don't, because I mean, like, also me, I didn't choose to become German, so it's not my fault. You know, it's not my fault to be German, and I don't see the other countries putting pressure on me just because I'm German. I mean, like, I know that my participation or choosing is important for politics, but I also, because I'm not that interested actually in politics, but it's still like I think I'm a normal German person. Doesn't have to, you know, I'm not that interrupted with politics, so it's I don't know, maybe other people expect it from me, but I don't, because it's still my life and I can choose whatever I want to do.
That's a good answer. That's what I was checking. And just about what you said, yeah, here in Portugal, I feel the same since in terms of politics or government, it's okay-ish. So people say, oh, it's not bad, so we just get complacent. We don't need like to work to make like even better, even though we can. So like this big part of the population is complacent. They are just like whatever, just keep voting the same thing. But then the people who are against this are like the extremists, either in both sides of the far right and far left. So you have like the people who don't care and extremist views, and that for me is like the worst combination possible. So that's why I think it's really important to focus on making people more politically active, but not in an extreme way, because people,
Yeah,
come on.
taking your part, yeah, as a normal citizen, I would say.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just like take 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute a day, just see the name of the politician, what he's planning to do, and then go vote. At least that. Just don't be complacent or
I think it's
extremist.
good because I think this is happening a lot in European countries at the same time right now. Like you can see that in some countries it's happening already, that extreme parties are like getting the power or are in the government already, and some are getting there, I would say. So it's I think it's a very important topic in the whole of Europe.
No, yeah, but to me, it's as I said, like the people who are complacent are starting to get outnumbered by the people who are extremely active. So it's not that we're having change; we have like this balance on the politic field. But, yeah, but moving away from that, that's another conversation for another
Sorry.
day.
Yeah.
Don't worry, because it's my problem. For me, the biggest struggle with this interview is not to make it too political or too ranty. But let's just let's talk a little about education. Because of the coronavirus, a lot of schools and universities they are being forced to adapt to the situation. And for example, we are having online Polish classes. Also, there's some schools who stopped implementing tests and are implementing like some special type of research that need to do, or some homework, more difficult. Do you think that this whole corona pandemic will influence the educational system from now on? That's like going to change anything? Or do you think that after corona becomes the normal, everything will just like go back to normal, the education system will still be the same?
I think I hope and I also think so that it will change, because maybe not everywhere in the same, how you say this, in the same okay, maybe not, maybe some are just having small changes, some are having big changes, but I think they're like, for example, I think most schools trying new online possibilities, and this this should have been happening long ago already, because online and internet stuff, the new technical stuff, it's on so long already, and just teachers were old and politicians were old and didn't have this, oh come on, we're not going to do there anything right now. But it's important for young people who grow up with this technical opportunities and don't know how to work with it. And there are so many opportunities you can actually use and haven't used yet in school, but I think it's important to use it in school, also to get to know how to work with it. And now teachers had to work with it, so they are getting knowledge about it. Also older teachers who didn't, younger teachers, they're okay with it, of course, and now all the teachers are also getting there, and I think this is important, and this will also change, because now also teachers need to learn how to, and don't have to only teach, but also learn, and maybe also get the chance again to learn something new and kind of understand students which are always learning something new. And I think this will change. And maybe in a way that there are more online classes, I don't know, but also the way the media is taking part in classes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because and also just one thing that I would like to add, a lot of people have been studying more by themselves. So maybe the schools can see that they don't need to be all the time uh, up to the student saying that you need to do this, and that some people can learn by themselves. Yeah, as I said,
But
that
this is also hard. That's also actually a good point because some people also get on their borders like where they cannot study on their own anymore and get to know, okay, when do they need the teacher? And also the teachers know where do I have to give more and where do I have to give more freedom, maybe like this, yeah.
yeah, it's literally hoping that the education system learns something from this.
Yeah.
And also another thing that I never understood why, because almost every school book that you buy now comes with it like a digital version,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of like making students buy every year like this big pile of dead trees that's like only helping make the current situation worse. Like books are saying you should save paper, but like you need to buy our book for 40 euros, like full of leaves. And like with the price that you pay, like in a semester for books, you can like buy a little device that have all the books that you're going to use for the next like 8 years. So let's hopefully see that at least one good thing that Corona made was make the educational system more technological.
Yeah, but there you also have to see then it always also depends on politics if everyone has access to it. That's also maybe a change that students, also children now have to have access to internet, to a technical like a tablet or a computer or something. And I think this is also something that maybe the awareness of how important this is maybe also changed.
No, yeah, but nowadays you can get like a Kindle or like those small tablets just for reading for like 80 to 120 euros, and that's like sometimes it's even cheaper than the books that you need to buy for a year that you use in school. So I think it's not about the government having money for do this or that. It's to manage the money better instead of like wasting it.
Yes, but I think it still depends a lot about the situation a family is in. Like, I don't know how's the situation in some other countries or places, but for me, I could always borrow the books also. So for me, it was not that much of a problem with the money. Also, sometimes you had to buy books, but not that many. But if I don't know. There are some families, I would say, they cannot afford a laptop for every child they have. And they would rather maybe borrow books or something. But then you also have to make sure that if you want to change it to a virtual version of education, that then you have to make sure that every child has the possibility to have a technical thing to work on it. I
Yeah, yeah.
would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. As I said, it's a different situation for everyone, and
Yeah.
you need to look out for everyone, not just like make them figure out what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, and do you have any plans on what to do after you finish your volunteering? Big question,
Uh,
I know.
yes, I will stick to the typical German CV. uh, I will finish my like in Germany to become a teacher. You always have to do a like theory part at university, and after that you still have to do like some time of practical service, I would say. And I still have to do that until my education as a teacher is fully done. So I will just continue with that. Like having this, it's 1.5 practical service, I would say, and after that, I'm a full teacher and teach wherever I can. Yeah.
Okay, just a question. Do you know if the volunteering that you're doing, since you're like working and practicing the things that you learn in university, if they give any accreditation as like formal work that you did or experience? I mean,
I would not say, because it's a different German paperwork is very complicated and very strict in things. So
it's
because
German then. Okay.
I finished university, so I'm done with university, and I would not take any credits because I'm just done with my studies. And for the future things, for the service thing, they have, of course, very detailed things you have to do for that. And I think what I'm doing now in the voluntary service is not part of this. So it doesn't have an impact of my teacher's life, I would say, but of course of my personal life, and maybe also what I want to do in the future as a teacher. Like I said, I can imagine maybe more teaching on a private school or in different fields where, yeah, I think maybe this voluntary service is more like I can take it more also on the paperwork thing. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Zara, since we are finishing up here, just have some final questions to you. And is there more focus about the volunteering you're doing right now, since it's like the big thing, the big moment in your life? What is the thing that you hope the most to learn from this volunteering?
What I really like to learn is how to work in this NGO. I never worked with an NGO before, and I'm very interested how things are doing. What are the possibilities? What are also maybe the negative sides of what you have to be aware of? And also just developing more skills, like you said this, or we talked about this of informal education already, like just getting some tools and different ways of how to work with people.
Okay, great. And what was or is like your biggest fear related to volunteering, like to going abroad and working?
My biggest fear is that I don't know what to do, or don't get the support what I wish I would like, because I don't know what to do. I don't know, kind of getting lost and don't know where to find myself back and what I'm supposed to do. Yeah.
Okay. And so far, what's been like the thing that you've been enjoying the most in this volunteering?
I'm enjoying a lot the freedom and the freedom, the choice that we can choose what to do, and of course the youth exchanges. Actually, I enjoyed them a lot because I could learn there so much. Yeah.
You really got bitten by the youth exchange bug. Okay.
Yeah, but also like not just because of the experience you gain there during the youth exchange, also the organization before, how to get there and what's after this left, and how to work on, reflect on it, having feedback, things like this.
Oh, no, yeah, I understand, because I always like doing youth exchanges, and I'm like even enjoying more right now because I'm also participating like in the backstage part.
Yes.
So you get like to plan and then see everything in action, then evaluate that. So
Yeah.
it's like you're doing like a double youth exchange because you're seeing like from both sides.
Because you have this planning situation as well, like how to
Yeah,
plan.
and I really love like how challenging it is and how many like unexpected things happen. So you always
Yeah.
like never gets boring because
And
it
also
always
how
happens
many
something.
thoughts you have before that, how to do stuff, and then you have to throw them all away in a situation and just act spontaneous. And yeah.
And something that it's hard to do if you're too used to just stick into something, and then when like something goes wrong, you just like panic. But like you need to be on your toes. But yeah, Zora, thank you very much for taking your time to do this interview. It was like really great.
Thank you very much, Bruno, for doing this.
And besides the podcast that we did about Pirates of Europe, is there anything else you would like to share?
I don't know. I don't think so. Just maybe, I don't know. Europe for Youth, check it out.
Yeah, I'll put the link to the Europe for Youth website. And sorry if you guys see some difference because I changed my headphones. I had some technical issues. And well, guess that's all. See you next. Bye bye.
Bye bye.